Well, it's a grand return for Kane. Kane Williamson is back for New Zealand after 7 long months. And already his luck is working because in the game against Bangladesh at Chepauk, New Zealand have won the toss and chosen to bat against
Bowl.
Yep, sorry. New Zealand have chosen to bowl against Bangladesh. Why am I caught up in the Tasman situation at this point in time?
And anyway, I think now you're going to see this happen more often because I remember the first match that you had proper in Chennai. You had India, Australia. Australia were a little spooked by the conditions, opted to bat first.
Yeah.
But what we saw is that once the underlights, the dew kicks in a little bit, it eased out considerably. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme. You saw it in Delhi as well in both matches, whether it be the Sri Lanka versus
South Africa
match or of course the India-Afghanistan match. Batting second was just way easier, so I think now you are going to see more and more people. By the way, the team news is in, and Rachin Ravindra will be opening according to the team sheet.
That's
very,
good.
very interesting.
So that means Will Young out, unfortunately.
Yes. Chapman retains his spot.
Wow.
I think probably because he gives you a bowling option also. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's the case. But remember, they would have gotten inputs from a local boy, Devon Conway.
Exactly.
Conway plays for CSK, and he would know the conditions in Chepauk quite well, and that's why the main brief would have been win the toss, opt to bowl. Please don't make the Australia mistake.
Don't make the same mistake that Pat Cummins and co made.
Of course. So, wow, that's interesting. Rachin Ravindra opening along with Devon Conway. And remember, Ravindra did open in the game against Pakistan, the warm-up game.
The warm-up match.
Hit 97. And Will Young, okay, I think he's the one who may face the axe at this point. Will they include Sodhi?
I didn't actually see the full playing 11. Unfortunately, it flashed
I can just see
quickly, but you can check. I think they should, in an ideal world, include Sodhi.
Sodhi in this kind of a situation. And okay, so Williamson is simply, I'm coming for Will Young. Wow, it's too good. So Will Young doesn't keep his place. So Chapman is in, and Rachin Ravindra will open along with Devon Conway. And as far as the Bangladesh team is concerned, I don't think there might be any changes in that.
Did they bring in a spinner?
I think they must have.
Okay,
so here is the New Zealand playing 11. Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, Daryl Mitchell, Tom Latham, he now is the keeper and the vice captain, Glenn Phillips, Mark Chapman, Mitchell Santner, Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, and Trent Boult.
So they haven't actually. I think what they've done is they know they have enough part-time bowling options as well.
Yes.
Chapman is one, if I'm not wrong.
Ravindra.
Glenn Phillips, Rachin Ravindra is more than a part-time option in all fairness. But I'm talking about purely part-time. If you're looking at their spinners, of course, Santner and Rachin Ravindra will be the top two guys you'd expect to bowl all 10 overs. But they also do have Glenn Phillips and of course Chapman as slow bowling options as well. Daryl Mitchell too can bowl his cutters.
Dibbly-dobblies, if you look at it.
So they do have a lot of part-time bowling options, and I think it does make sense for the new ball. You'd want the options that they have right now. Henry, Boult, and of course Ferguson will be someone in the middle overs, can provide some pace. He's not someone who's necessarily conditions reliant. Let's put it that way.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bowling options for New Zealand.
Exactly.
So wow, it's really Ravindra, Mitchell, Phillips, Chapman, Santner, Henry. Okay, Ferguson, Boult, 8 bowling options.
Exactly.
My goodness. And Bangladesh have also made one major change. Mahmudullah is in.
Oh.
So that's why their playing 11 is Liton Das, Tanzid Hassan, Nazmul Hossain Shanto, Mehdi Hassan Miraz, Shakib Al Hassan, Mushfiqur Rahim, Tawheed Hridoy, Mahmudullah, who can also give you the off-break option, Taskin Ahmed, Shariful Islam, Mustafizur.
So that 3 pacers and a lot of spinners.
Yeah,
a lot of spinners.
Mahmudullah, then you've got Shakib, you've got Mehdi Hassan.
And here,
that's your three major spinners that you've got. And I don't know whether Tawheed Hridoy can bowl a bit of spin. I don't know.
I can't bowl it at, or am I misremembering?
Nazmul Hossain Shanto. No, I can't recollect.
No, I can't recollect.
I really can't recollect.
So because they have Mehdi anyway, Mehdi Hassan will more often than not in conditions like this probably bowl you 10 overs.
Yep.
Shakib, of course, would definitely give you that option.
Exactly. So it's 5-0 when you look at head-to-head records in the World Cup for New Zealand and Bangladesh. But remember, on this pitch, maybe Bangladesh can get their best chance.
I think this is the kind of pitch that does act like a bit of an equalizer for Bangladesh. Of course, they'll have to bat out of their skins as well, because batting does become much easier in the second half. We've seen that already.
And Mitchell Santner, boy, he really can He's been in top form in this World Cup, so he will be the key along with, you may say, but not playing Ish Sodhi. Maybe they are wanting to play him towards the fag end of the tournament.
When the pitches start tiring out even more.
Even more, yeah. And remember, it's cloudy in Chennai at this point in time.
Maybe they felt that going with the extra pacer might not be the worst option in that regard. Who knows? I mean, to be fair, I don't think you see very few teams actually go in with only 2 pure pacers.
Yep. But maybe they didn't want to get a leg spinner in because of the left-hand options that are there in the Bangladeshi. Remember, ball coming in and one side of the boundary is only 59 meters today.
Exactly.
So the shorter dimensions, they're saying, okay, maybe but why they have gotten a left-hand spinner then?
And they have 2 left-hand spinners.
Rachin and Mitchell Santner. So, I don't know, maybe Sodhi doesn't fit into the team
I think the only reason is because they didn't want to, no team will play less than 3 pacers.
Yeah.
And I don't think Daryl Mitchell counts as a pacer. We're being very generous with that.
Because Sodhi against Bangladesh in the series that was played prior to the World Cup.
He was in fire.
6 wickets he took in one of the games.
Yeah, and that remember that was in Bangladesh, where predominantly you do tend to get slightly slower wickets.
And that's why New Zealand won their first 2 games quite convincingly. If you look at it, they beat the Netherlands, they beat England by a massive margin. So that's why they are second on the points table. And yesterday, Shane, you were not here, but what did you make of Australia, South Africa? What a meek capitulation.
I don't understand. I know that, Australia have obviously had a slightly tougher start than most. Because, their first 2 matches, one is against India, is against South Africa. Those are 2 matches against the bigger 4 nations, let's say.
And then you got your other game you got is against Pakistan.
Yeah, so they definitely are in a bit of a, it's not easy matches to start. But I think I would have been more confident about them if they had shown some kind of fight in either of those matches. It was a very meek fold up against India. South Africa was worse. If somehow possible, it was even worse. So I don't understand. I think they lost form at the worst time. I think that those 3 consecutive matches they lost to South Africa in South Africa dented their confidence. India, let's not count too much, but even there, don't forget they lost 2 matches on the trot, which meant that they actually lost 5 matches on the trot, and that 1 win came against an India team that were already on autopilot.
Yeah, and also if you look at it, they have lost 4 consecutive World Cup games. They have lost 6 out of their last 7 ODIs.
It's not good times if you're an Aussie fan, and again, this is a team that a lot of people were saying unbridled will walk the tournament, but they've had the nightmarish of nightmare starts. Now they have 7 matches left, and pretty much all of them are must win. It's a must win situation facing them every single game. That's why you want a good start. It gives you that buffer. It gives you that, it takes the pressure off later in the tournament when everyone is going to be in the same situation. Now they're in that situation.
Tough times, and there is a viral meme going around from a Bollywood film. Oh man, that is quite mean to say the least. But again, Australia, remember, history suggests you lose your first 2 games, history is never kind to you. Happened in 92.
You're playing catch up. It's that simple.
Yep.
Because at this point, mind you, other teams and the bigger teams I made much better starts.
Yep.
India have won 2 out of 2, including one against Australia. So that's a test that. Pakistan have won 2 out of 2, albeit 2 very easy fixtures, but still, it does give you that buffer later on.
Yep.
South Africa won 2 out of 2.
New Zealand have won 2 out of 2.
2 and favourites to win 3 out of 3 because Bangladesh will maybe give them a run for their money, but again, I'm expecting New Zealand are clear-cut favourites here.
Yeah.
Not a good time if you're Australia because now you're really sweating bullets over who exactly makes it where, because again, everyone's top 4 that we were picking largely said the big 3, so that's India, Australia, England, not necessarily in that order, and New Zealand were probably that team 4th. Now though, potentially you've got 2 teams competing for that 4th spot. Because we are 3 actually, because you're talking New Zealand, we all discounted Pakistan and everyone wrote off South Africa.
Yep.
So really there's 3 teams who are doing much better than Australia right now.
Yep.
And it's definitely baffling. I know, yes, Australia definitely, if we're looking at, when it comes to their fixtures, their unkind fixtures come first, but at least win one of them, show some fight in the other, because there's been horrible really when it comes to, the way they've performed. It's just been very ordinary. Very ordinary.
And also remember one thing, I will keep this super chat that one of our family members at Sahil pasted on my mind until November 12th, because he said, remember this order and remember my name. Every day I will remember your name, Sahil. He gave out in this particular order the teams that will qualify for the semi-finals. India, England, Pakistan, South Africa.
Ooh.
These are the 4 teams that he's saying that they will make it to the semi-finals.
See, because right now, and I know it's very early, but after every team has completed 3 games, potentially I would say New Zealand, India would be in the better positions. Pakistan, really depending on how it is that tomorrow's match goes. Same with India, really.
Yeah.
Same with India, because again, India, yes, it'll be extremes, because on one hand, you thrashed Australia or lose to Pakistan, and the Indian public doesn't like that.
Yeah.
And especially so, considering it'll be a historic, you've never lost to Pakistan in the history of ODI World Cups.
Yep.
So it'll really depend. Again, even with Pakistan, that things, they've had two easy starts. Two teams very easy to beat. So I'm not really counting them in yet. If they beat India, then yes. Then suddenly they're dark horses. And actually, if you're looking at it, the race is very intense. Thanks in no small part to South Africa starting consistently, New Zealand, even Pakistan, and Australia's capitulation. So you really don't know where exactly it is right now. Early, it's too early.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be 3 games in with most of these teams. Very early to tell still.
And England could peak later on.
England have that thing, they're always slightly slow starters.
Yeah.
Even in the home World Cup, you have to remember 2019, they didn't finish on top of the pile.
No, they didn't.
They finished second, if I'm not wrong.
I think they finished third.
Yeah, exactly.
Australia was second, England were third, and New Zealand were fourth.
And in fact, most people had written them off in the semi because Australia had beaten them in the group stage.
Lots.
Yeah. So most people were saying, no, they're not looking that, but they tend to find their gear. Same with 2022. They had that loss, if I may, to Ireland.
5 runs,
Duckworth-Lewis turn method. So there was that. Then they just about got out of jail. If I'm not wrong, it was against Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Sydney.
In their last group stage match. That was a very tough match because I remember this pitch was turning.
Yes.
So they had their spinners there. They got out of jail. Then in the semi, I think that's when they really picked because they thrashed India.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. You win by 10 wickets.
Yep.
Boss, that's a thrashing. So they pick then. With England also in group stages, they're always iffy. Always. That's always been the case. They'll because I think it's also down to their style of play.
Yeah.
It will blow hot and cold because again, if you go through the group stage in 2019, yes, they hammered Afghanistan and that India game probably looked better on paper than it did in reality.
Yeah.
But they did have losses to the likes of
they lost to Pakistan, they lost to Sri Lanka, they lost to Australia in the league stages.
So they did have losses. It wasn't easy sailing for them by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep.
That's the worry with them. With Australia now, I'm worried. With New Zealand, opposite. Because if they win today, and I again say they're favourites, later on, yes, I know they'll have some tests, but again, it's their first 3 matches. They did really convincingly beat England.
Yeah,
so you can't really take anything away, and they do have diversity as far as their options go.
Yes.
That's another interesting thing.
And this man is back.
Actually, he adds a lot to the team.
Yep.
He adds a lot to the team.
He scored a 50 in that warm-up game against Pakistan. Didn't field. He just played as a batter just to ease him in. Now his knee injury has healed. Remember, in April he had suffered that bad injury.
And mind you, that time it was pretty much confirmed. He himself had said that I'm not making it to the World Cup. Miraculously, I think the surgery and everything went a lot better than expected.
Yeah.
So he could actually work his way back into fitness. 3rd match, back out of the field.
Yep, Cool Kane is back and in his usual typical style, I'm in for Will Young. That's it. That's about it. So that you're finding out the team this thing. Okay,
That's done.
So Bangladesh also one change. Mahmudullah, now he also has a point. That veteran.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Mahmudullah hasn't been in the scheme of things for as long as I can remember now.
3-4 years,
He wasn't really, and in fact, even let us say 3-4 years. In the recent times, he was nowhere near the playing 11. Now they brought him back. I think mostly as we say because he does offer you another spinner.
Yes.
So that's probably the only reason I can think of. Because other than that, and of course maybe a bit of steel in the batting order if you're playing that role that he's someone who has experience.
Yep.
It's the only thing, the point to prove for him too.
So you've got 2 left-arm pacers also. Shariful and Mustafizur. And Taskin. So that's 3. If you look at our, you may say left-handers. Conway, Ravindra, Santner. This team is actually, these 2 sides are the battle of the left-handers.
Yeah.
If you look at it.
Especially when you consider that both teams, in New Zealand have 2 left-handed openers.
Yes, Conway and Ravindra.
Exactly.
And also if you look at it, even in the Bangladesh batting, Shakib, then you also, I think, Tanzin
I think so. I think Tanzin is left-handed.
Yeah.
Because Litton we know is righty.
Right, yes, Litton Das. So that's why it's not going to be a very walk in the park contest. It'll be a very attritional contest.
I think it'll be attritional because again, if Chennai plays anything like we expect it to, you're not going to be seeing an easy match.
They said, the commentators said that this pitch is much better for batting as compared to the game against Australia.
Oh, then that's interesting because then I think you might see, I see a lot of these changes. I think that's also why then both teams have kept 3 pacers. Because what if it's not spinning as much?
Yeah, but Bangladesh, I think they might be worried because they lost the toss and they're going to bowl second.
Yeah, it's definitely not an ideal circumstance for them. As I said, throughout this tournament, I think you're going to see toss will play a factor. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
It is going to play a factor. We've seen this happen in other matches also, whereby teams have made that mistake of choosing to bat first and then made to look like fools. Australia did it. Afghanistan, definitely, I don't understand what they were thinking.
Yeah.
So, it definitely does not bode well. I think if you are winning the toss, bat second. That's always going to be the way it goes, especially now because winter is setting in.
Winter is setting in, except in the southern parts where there's hardly any winter in Chennai.
True.
So that is the situation we have. New Zealand have chosen to bowl against Bangladesh, and score predictions, if you have to look at it.
Ooh, this is tough because again, if they're saying this is better batting, I remember even Chennai during the IPL would be like, a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
Because one pitch looked like typical Chennai, the other would be a belter. So you could never tell what is what. If they're saying this is better to bat on
260, but New Zealand are chasing it.
I think they'll get to about 285, but I definitely think New Zealand is chasing it down. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yep, because they have got solidity in batting now. I think number 8. I think they batted
number 8, and don't forget their 9 and 10s are the likes of.
I'll just check. Conway, Ravindra, Williamson, Mitchell.
Santner normally bats 8.
Yeah, Tom Latham, Phillips, Chapman, Santner, Bolt can also tonk.
That's what I'm saying. Bolt and Ferguson are not terrible batters.
Yeah.
If they need 10-20 runs, those two can also get it.
Wow.
So they actually do bat deep, and if it's 280 odd, which I'm expecting, because again, dare I say, Bangladesh have similar problems to what Pakistan do.
Yeah.
Very attritional style of cricket they play. Yes, maybe that one batsman will stick it and make a big score, but everyone else is just far too inconsistent to be counted on.
Shakib, Rahim, that's about it.
Shakib, Rahim, Litton I think will be key.
Litton
what can he do up top? Because he's someone who can shift gears. Same with Shakib for that matter. I think just the problem with that is that he's batting at 4 now.
Yeah.
Normally someone like Shakib with his explosiveness can be ideally a 5-6.
The X factor can be Nazmul Hossain Shantu.
Nazmul Hossain Shantu. I think there'll be a lot expected from him and Mehdi. Mehdi has probably been their most consistent middle order bat through the past year now.
Yeah.
So I think a lot will be expected from him.
Mehdi. Why didn't they pick Mahedi in this kind of...
Yeah, I know. Mahedi is another one who offered them spin.
Or Nasoom Ahmed, another spin option, but I don't know. That's the Bangladesh thinking. Maybe they thought we'll bat first and then it might work, but I think they're bowling second. Kind of might have upset the plan. So that's the situation here. We'll be back with more updates on sports. Remember, we are building up to India versus Pakistan.
As well, right.
And that's going to be a big match. You'll get live updates from Ahmedabad also. So from me and Shane, it's bye-bye. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget to download the Sports Tak mobile app. Bye-bye.